I am Dr. Foley. I'm the program director here in Anatomy and Neurobiology. I'm the program director for both master's and PhD programs, and I assume everybody who is here is interested in the master's program because our PhD program deadline has passed, though if you are interested in the PhD program, you can apply for next cycle. Could anybody who's here for PhD program please raise your hand just so I know? Okay, that is good. Everybody's here for master's program because that's what I'm going to talk about today. And just so that you know, our master's program application deadline is on June 1st. Has anybody here started an application? Awesome. Okay, a couple people. So you still have plenty of time. That's great, great. In the chat, hand raise. Awesome. So good to hear. So I am going to give you a little overview of our department. Oh, that's great. Yay, it's so nice to see. So I'm going to give you a little overview. There will be time for questions, and please feel free to stop me at any point during the presentation. And now, Melanie, I think that you just raised your hand to answer me that you submitted your application. Okay, great. So now I'm going to start the presentation. So share screen. All right, so this is the Department of Anatomy and Neurobiology. And we are at Boston University. We're at the Chobanian and Avedisian School of Medicine in the South End neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. And this is an overview of our department, or well, these are the students actually, but we have 44 faculty members, and of the faculty, we have about 17 research programs. So what this tells you is it's a very collaborative department because we have 44 faculty working on 17 things, and often a single faculty member will work in more than one program, so they all collaborate with each other. And we have in total 27 students, and 14 of them are master students, 13 of them are PhD students. Sorry, I was trying to move something out of the way. So I want to give you an overview of our program, and I want to show you our website. So I'm actually going to kind of get out of the grad fair presentation and show you the website. So I have to reshare that. And so here's our website, Anatomy and Neurobiology, and things that if you haven't already seen this, you have the graduate programs and we have our master's program. So there's a lot of information here, and some of it I'll go over in the PowerPoint, so I'm not going to go over it here. But this is where you can find specific courses, both required and electives. And we have students who represent our program who are available for you to chat with. So this is Rishti, and actually she's a second-year master's student who was just admitted to our PhD program. So she's gonna still be here for anybody who joins the program as a master's student. She'll be a first-year PhD student. Here's kind of your overview of your courses. So it's a 2-year program. You start with human gross anatomy and neuroanatomy through clinical cases, as well as a journal club. This is something we're kind of playing with right now. The journal club is about a special topic in neurophysiology, and we're working on making this more didactic. So this course is actively being revised. We have in the spring semester, so that was the fall, this is the spring, we have a teaching course, teaches you how to teach, a professional skills course, and a histology course. You also can take electives. And then in year 2, we have more of your teaching training. This Vesalius word, I'll explain it in a minute. We have even more teaching training, and then you have to take a statistics course and do research. So you do have to write a master's thesis as a master's student. So this is a site that you can refer back to from our main page. And of course, this one's important. If you haven't applied yet, you can apply now. Or at the end of this presentation. So you can go to that. In fact, Control C, and I'm going to put that in the chat later. Or maybe Anna can put the apply now link in the chat for me because I don't see the chat while I'm presenting right now. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you is, sorry, this is in the way again. We have these student resources. So one thing as a student, you might be interested in looking at our program guidelines. It's basically like the student handbook. And then there's other things on here like the library. Not all of these are relevant to you, like master's students don't take qualifying exam, but they do need example theses. There it is, the chat popped down, I think, Anna, thank you. So we have, again, course descriptions. So if you're like thinking, okay, what actually is histology? You can go to the course descriptions and say Control F, histology. And then there's a couple of different histology courses. This is the one that you would take, and you can read the course description. So really, like, there's a lot for you to explore here. And I just wanted to introduce the website to you, but I'm not going to focus on the website. So what I am going to do is go back and kind of just give you an overview of the curriculum. So I know I just went from showing the website to the PowerPoint. So Anna, is the PowerPoint showing all right? Cool, thank you. So this program, the master's program, is a 32 credit program. Students take it full-time over 2 years. Full-time course load is 12 credits. So you're really only full-time credit load your first semester, and then you start doing more research. The courses that you take first semester are human gross anatomy, which is a 6 credit course. It has a lab component where you do human cadaver dissections. We have a special topics in neurophysiology. So this is what I was saying, it was updated. So this was this year presented as a journal club, but we're moving to kind of making it more didactic for next semester. A lot of students come in not really knowing how to digest the information from journal clubs, so we're making it more of a lecture style class, adapting to our student needs and feedback. So the other class that you take is neuroanatomy through clinical cases. So this is an anatomy-based course. And we have systems neurobiology, which is mainly taken by our PhD students. So I put PhD things here in blue in case we had any. But if you're master's applicants, you can ignore systems neurobiology. It's a very intense course, and you get a different version, which is neuroanatomy through clinical cases. The Vesalius module, I mentioned this, it's a teaching module, and it consists of 3 courses where we teach our students how to be educators in higher ed in the sciences. I personally think this is extremely important because it's very difficult to teach science, and people who are getting a degree from our program are likely at some point going to be teaching science. So it's important that, that teaching is effective. And so we focus on that. We have our master's students work as TAs. So our students are TAs in at least 1 course. They can do more if they choose to, but 1 is required. So you would serve as a TA in your 2nd year. And then we have seminars that students attend. So here's the Vesalius module. And again, it's required for all of our master's students. You need to have taken your 1st semester and 2nd semester coursework. So graduate histology is a 2nd semester course. And once you do that, you can start taking the Vesalius module. So actually Vesalius 1 you take during your second semester. And this is where you learn the best practices in teaching. So it's called Foundations in Teaching. And you learn how to basically write a good syllabus, put together course objectives, how to actually assess your students' learning, and how to do really fun things like active learning activities and how to increase student engagement and facilitate student learning. And then the TA or teaching apprenticeship is something that you do once you've completed your first year coursework. You'll TA in a course that you've already taken, and you really put what we say, we put theory into practice. So what you've learned in Foundations in Teaching, you can apply while you're a TA. And then really the icing on the cake that trains you to be excellent educators is you go through this Vesalius 3 course, which is a mentored teaching project. You design a small module of an existing course through working with a course director. And it's a course that you've already taken. And you really end up designing, like, I would say about a 1-hour study session, review session, help session for the current students. So when you're a first year, you will have those study sessions that are given to you from our second year students who are doing the Vesalius practicum. And then when you're a second year, you'll help the first years behind you. And it's really a fun way to be creative and how to help kind of learn in a different way. So like, we had a student last year giving like a review of the ligaments of the knee, and he used different colors of tape and taped models and helped the students kind of look at where the ligaments go. And then he had cadavers where he actually cut some of the ligaments of the knee and showed how that had an effect on the stability of the knee. So there's really a lot of ways and a lot of materials that you can use to be creative in your Vesalius practicum. Research, of course, is a very important component of your training as master's students in the department, and it's going to be either in neuroscience and or anatomy. And you'll have a mentor who is a member of our department faculty to help you with your research. You don't do research until your second semester. So your first semester is all coursework, and we really want you to focus on your coursework. And then second semester, you can start diving into which lab you might want to join. And so kind of towards the end of your first semester in December, there is a seminar series where the PIs of each of the labs that are taking students, and even some who are not taking students, will talk to our department and tell everybody what they do, so that anybody who's interested in joining a lab can have an exposure to what all the labs are. And then there's situations where you can present your research. So we have internal and external opportunities. The Henry Russick and John McCahan Day are internal, and you can present your research up as a poster at these events, and there's cash prizes for the winners. We also encourage our students to attend meetings if they have data to present. The journal club is something that students attend every year, once per year. So you could take it either the spring or the fall semester. And then again, I mentioned department seminars. Those are every Thursday at 2 p.m. And there's special ones in December right before you'll want to choose your lab. Those will be from faculty within our department. But we also have faculty outside of the department who visit and give seminars throughout the rest of the year. And finally, this is kind of an overall of the typical schedule. I really did talk about all of this already, and I showed it to you on the website. So I'm just going to go through it quickly. And remember that the PhD is in blue, so you can ignore that. So year 1 is 12 credits. That's human gross anatomy, neuroanatomy through clinical cases, and then our journal club / special topics course. And then spring semester of year 1, you'll take about 10 credits. You'll take your Vesalius 1, which is 2 credits, professional skills, which is 2 credits, some electives, and graduate histology, which is 4 credits. And then year 2, an approved statistics course, which is 2 credits, your teaching apprenticeship, which is 2 credits, You're teaching practicum, which is 2 credits. And then you're really just going to be doing research. And a lot of the research gets done between years 1 and 2 over this summer. Anybody who enters this curriculum will be automatically registered for the fall of the first year. So you don't have to worry about what course you have to take. We'll register you for that. Our campus is in the south end, so we're on the medical campus. And sometimes there are courses on the Charles River campus that our students like to take. Your courses, at least for your first semester in the fall, are all on our medical campus. But should you want to go over to the Charles River campus up here, we have a shuttle, the BU shuttle. This is actually kind of a live screenshot of where the shuttle is. And it's not live anymore, but it was live when I took it. And so you can see where that goes, and you can track the shuttle through the Terrier Transit app. So I want to pause and see if you have any questions, and then I want to show you a video. And I just noticed a chat question, but I want to see if I can answer it. Okay. Somebody's in 2 sessions at once. That's cool. All right. So does anybody have questions about the Vesalius program, about your courses, about how to apply or anything? Okay, is there any fellowship for international students? We do have so our department is under the School for Graduate Medical Sciences. So we as a department don't have specific scholarships or fellowships that we offer. But there is the GMS scholarships website. Anna, would you mind putting that website in the chat? Thank you. So we do have some funds, but definitely not enough to say support an entire stipend. But yeah, if you wanted to go for something big, you would look at what options there are through the GMS website. Any relationship of this course to forensic science? So forensic science is another program that has faculty that are also in our department. So let me actually end this slideshow and show you some of our courses on the website. And you should be looking at the website now. Is that right? Okay. So I'm going to just Control F for forensic. Okay, we don't have that on our course descriptions, but that's fine. In our master's program, some of the elective courses are, some forensic biology, forensic pathology. So those are certainly some of the electives that you can take. But this program, anatomy and neurobiology, is separate from the forensics program. So that's a different degree. But again, the faculty are within our department. So it's kind of like what's the department? What's the program? The department were the people who work in different programs. And then the program is like the course structure that the students take. So while our anatomy and neurobiology department is related to the forensics program, we're not. The anatomy and neurobiology program is separate courses, separate students, separate application. Another question is it possible for international students to work inside the university in order to help pay for the tuition? So we have an international student service office, and they are the people you want to ask for that, because I don't work with any sort of payment or anything like that for international students, so I can't answer that. That said, we don't want our students to work too much because it's a rigorous course load and you want to, thank you for posting that, Anna. We want our students to do well in their courses and get their research done. So we don't recommend students to work at all their first semester. And then after the first semester, you really don't want to work more than 10 hours a week outside of the course work. So the next question is, can I be forensic anatomy after this? So this program is a master's in anatomy and neurobiology, and then forensic is another master's. So it would be rare to get your master's in two different things. But if you wanted to take the one of the forensic courses as one of your electives, then you could have that training. But I wouldn't recommend paying for two separate master's degrees that are pretty closely related. I would talk to faculty and see which of the two programs you prefer to join. And we can talk more offline if you're interested. Can we work with other PIs rather than BU or outside of BU, I think is the question. So our master's students we typically want them to work in our department, just because we want our students to kind of be part of our community. However, some students do work outside of our department and even outside of BU, but it's just required that you have an additional advisor within the department so that we can make sure that you're checking all the boxes as far as our requirements go. But currently we have a student who's working at MGH right now. So yes, you can work outside of the department, outside of BU. Is there any instructions to follow for writing the personal statement, such as the word count, pages? Any instructions are on the application themselves. I don't believe there are specifics. I actually haven't seen the instructions. I've tried to, but I don't know what the instructions are. So that's regulated by GMS. And most of the personal statements that I get they're like 2 pages. So I don't think there's specific word count cutoffs. Okay, let's see. So the next question is, do graduate students receive support for these courses if, for example, there are family or medical emergencies that unfortunately affect the courses? That's a very complicated question. So if you're asking, do you get reimbursed if you have to drop a course due to a medical emergency? That's something really at the GMS level and not at the department level. And so that's something that you would have to find out from GMS. Because really, ultimately, you're paying GMS and working in our department. Okay, this is a very intensive program. Would you recommend a dual degree of this and MAMS? No. So MAMS itself is a master's in medical sciences, and that program is really geared for students who are interested in applying to medical school. A lot of our students in the master's in anatomy and neurobiology are also interested in applying to medical school. And kind of what makes us very different from MAMS is that, well, first of all, we're a much smaller program. So we accept about 10 students, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on the year. We accept about 10 students per year, whereas MAMS is 200. And the MAMS program is huge and has huge classes, and our program has smaller classes. You get to know the faculty much better, and it depends on what you're interested in for research. If you're interested in anatomy or neurobiology research, you should absolutely join our program because you can work with one of our faculty. MAMS students are not always able to do the research they like because there's 200 of them and they really don't get much exposure to faculty besides the faculty who come in and lecture for their giant courses. So MAMS, there's really strengths and weaknesses to each program, and it's kind of there's a lot of details, but I would say if you're interested in the content of our program, anatomy and neurobiology, it's better for you to apply to our program. However, you can apply to both. Unfortunately, you have to pay 2 application fees, but you can apply to both and then see which one, if you're trying to get into at least one. You can see which one you get into. They're both somewhat competitive. So you might want to try your chances and see which one you get into. They're both great ways to prepare for medical school. But again, it's a personal choice which one you join. The next question is, are their weekly meetings mandatory, and are they the only way to learn the depths of what professors' research entails? So the weekly seminars are mandatory. So those are required for all of our students. And you can get an exposure to what the faculty research is if you set up a meeting with them, but it's much easier to attend these required seminars to find out. What's the ideal candidate for this program? So an ideal master's student is somebody who has a good background in both anatomy and neurobiology and did well in their courses as an undergrad. So it's not critical that you have training in both anatomy and neurobiology, but we do look for students who have a strong background in biology courses and who express interest in doing research in anatomy and neurobiology, because we want you to fit well in our program culture, and our program does involve research. We also want you to be interested in teaching because we do promote best practices in education. And so the ideal student in my mind is one who has a good background, a strong background in their undergraduate courses, and wants to do both teaching and research. The next question is there an application fee waiver for an international student? And that, unfortunately, the answer is no. And that is not at the level of the department, that is the level of GMS, and we have no say over that. So GMS decides who has application fee waivers. There's an application for application fee waivers for only for US citizens, unfortunately. Should we as applicants have research experience in the neuroscience field? The best thing about doing a master's is that this is to prepare you for the next step. So you might want to go to medical school. You might want to go on to a PhD. You might want to take your master's and go work in industry. You don't need research experience to get into the master's program. You need to be interested in doing research. It doesn't even need to be your primary interests. Like, don't be too transparent about, like, I just want to check off the research box to go to medical school. But like, that's something that some of our students are here for. They just want to do a little bit of research, look good for med school, get into med school, and then say bye to research. You know, you might join and find out that you really like research more than you initially thought you would. But the long answer to short answer is no, you don't need research experience to be accepted into the master's program. Okay, so that's the end of our questions, and it is now 11:59. And I think that our session is supposed to end at 12. So I was going to show you like a little tour video, but instead, Anna, do you have the link to that handy? If not, I can grab it. I think I still have it handy.
I think I moved it from the drive to Dropbox.
Okay.
So let me grab that. Oh, I don't think I introduced myself. Hi,
I'm sorry.
Anna. I'm the administrative coordinator for the department. So yeah, any sort of administrative questions, you can come to me with those.
Sorry, I forgot to leave a space for you to introduce yourself.
Right.
If you have additional questions, yes, feel free to contact either me or Anna or both of us. Your best bet actually is to email both of us. So I'm putting my name in my email in the chat, and then it was Anna B27 at bu.edu, Anna. And then you can also just email our admin general email is anbusm@bu.edu. And yes, you are able to review this meeting after. So it's being recorded. and we can send it out to anybody who asks for it. Okay. And then so the link for the tour video is,
Sorry, Dropbox is giving me issues for some reason.
it's okay. Let's see. I thought you recently sent it to me, but yeah, I guess it's fine if we don't. Anybody who's interested can stay. Anybody who's not can leave. Okay, I think I found it. Tour video. No. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that I had a link from you. There it is. But it's not a link, it's just the movie from Dropbox. No, never mind, that's a different link. I lost it. Anybody who's
That's all right.
interested, just reach out and ask for it. And I am aware that we are now over time, so I will let you all go unless you have any more questions.
There's another question in chat. Should we contact a supervisor while applying?
So anybody who's interested in working with a specific PI, that's definitely worth reaching out to that PI and talking to them. And then if they're interested in you as a candidate, then they can bring your name to me and the rest of the admissions committee and tell me that they're interested in you. And that would definitely increase your chances of being admitted, because then we would have somebody who would be willing to take you as a student, but it's not required. So we have lots of students who come in not really knowing who they want to work with, and they start their coursework, and then they choose who they want to work with after they arrive. All right. Does the program view applicants holistically? Of course, we actually get specific training for that. For example, years of research experience, but not so high GPA. Absolutely, absolutely. So like we think of the student as an entire candidate. We definitely have some students who have explained in their personal statement their hardship and why they had a dip in their grades, and we totally take that into consideration. Yep. Holistic holistic admissions is a training course that everybody at BU takes so that we can be sure to be fair and accommodating to all different types of students and to welcome all different types of students. We definitely care about that. Okay, if there are no other questions, then that ought to do it. Thank you all for joining the Anatomy and Neurobiology program session for the GMS Graduate Fair.
Janine, could I ask a quick question?
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Giovanna. I'm from Brazil, and I'm also interested in the PhD program. And do you guys offer scholarships? Because I know it's easier to get a scholarship for a PhD than for a master's degree. Is that correct?
The scholarship it's not a scholarship for the PhD, it's a stipend. So all of our admitted PhD students receive a stipend. So like their coursework is paid for through the school and they receive a stipend through the school. So it's not a lot, but it's enough to get by if you have roommates, because it's expensive to live in Boston. So the stipend is $40,000 this year. And really, if you want to live close to campus, $40,000. You can't like have your own apartment, but you can have roommates and you can afford food and things like that. And but you really like don't have a lot of extra spending money, but our PhD students spend so much time in the lab anyway, they don't do much besides work.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Soju, do you have a question? Okay, maybe just stuck on the same call. Is this the person who was here on a different?
There's another question in the chat.
Oh, another question. Oh, okay. Sojud says, I applied to the PhD program and wasn't accepted. Can I apply again for the master's degree, or is it not allowed? It's allowed, yeah. So you can definitely apply for the master's program. You do have to pay for another application fee, though. That's the only annoying thing that I don't have any control over. Okay, any other questions? Okay, then we will end. You're welcome. We'll end the meeting.